This is our third annual event honoring the life's work of this incredible man who has had a significant impact on the lives of Indigenous children across the world. He has a long, beautiful history, being one of the, Dr. Trimble, one of 20 doctorates, native doctorates at that time, from Harvard, and had many careers in the field of Indian education, worked on several acts, that Bilingual Education Act, the Indian Education Act, and really transformed our educational system. So tonight is just another opportunity for us to recognize that the legacy of everything that he stood for continues in all of us, and particularly tonight with the extraordinary work that Leslie Harper has been doing. And Leslie Harper is part of a group called the Coalition for Indigenous Language and Culture-Based Education. And for those of you who were here earlier today know that I met Leslie through this wonderful coalition, and several of you here are familiar with the coalition or have worked with Dr. Demmert also. But Leslie, we invited Leslie, and I was speaking with Fred Pope, a former student of Dr. Demmert's, and we were talking about how these 3 years of honoring him have been so wonderful. Our first year was really an opportunity to bring the entire coalition together to meet and continue the work, and also have an honoring in his name. And the second year, last year, we were able to continue the discussion through his longtime friendship with Dr. Rosemary Christensen, and also a student of Dr. Trimble's and his, who has been doing great work, Stephanie Freiberg, with the Tulalip Nation, her own nation, around language and culture in the Tulalip schools. And so tonight we invite Leslie Harper, who has, and we feel like we've gone one step forward in saying we've recognized the great work and how he brought incredible people together. But we also see the relationships and the partnerships and the effect that that's had in higher education as well as in our communities. But tonight we get to honor Leslie Harper, who has been doing the groundwork for language revitalization for her community at Leech Lake, and to share with us and what great conversations we've had today so far, and the bondings between communities so that we can keep language and culture alive in all of our Indigenous communities. So I just want to thank you for being here, and for us to continue, see tonight as a time for us to get together and share a meal, and also look forward to the future. Where do we go from here? How do we look, as Leslie talked about, for the next 10 years of Indigenous language immersion? So I've asked our elder and teacher and mentor, George Adams from the Nooksack Nation, if he would mind beginning our dinner with a prayer. So, and I'd like to thank George. Who's a teacher of survival skills for Indigenous communities. George, if you wouldn't mind saying a few words.